Hey guys, welcome back, and today I'm reviewing the live-action Fullmetal Alchemist movie. This one is mostly inspired by General Phoenix's review of the Percy Jackson live-action adaptation of the book series. And I think he did a great job reviewing those movies, since I really didn't remember that much about them because it's been so long ago and I never read the books. I think he did an excellent review on this. I definitely recommend checking that one out. And this was more inspired by his review. Now, if you subscribe to Paul's Animation, we've actually done a review and a retraction of this movie. And it's like way longer. But I kind of wanted to go back to it one more time for myself, because there's just so much with this movie that it can't even. Now, if you have, I'll tell you this is a lot for the people who've watched Fullmetal Alchemist the anime, whether 2003 or Brotherhood. Now it doesn't matter which one you watch. So I know there's definitely some FMA fans in there. And if you haven't seen the show or movie, I definitely recommend watching the Brotherhood anime. If you haven't seen that, definitely watch it on Netflix. It's available. And this movie, Fullmetal Alchemist 2017, is a live-action adaptation made by Netflix for Netflix on Netflix. And let me tell you, it's absolutely horrible. Absolutely horrible. Oh my gosh, why does this movie exist? And here's the thing. When we first saw it, before we watched FMA as a whole, I thought it was a great film. Thought it was like excellent, and it's like, oh wow, look at all these effects. This is so cool. It made me want to watch the show. That's the best thing I can say about the movie, is that it made me want to watch the FMA anime. Well, after we watched Brotherhood, we went back to see the movie, and at first we saw, like, okay, there's a lot of bad reviews about this movie. Why are they trashing it? This is actually a great adaptation. This is before they mostly redeemed themselves with the Bleach live-action movie. When we got to rewatch the movie, it was a whole different feel, because now we knew the story and the characters. And the live-action film just screws up basically almost every single thing you could possibly imagine they screw up. The movie's like 2 hours. It's over 2 hours long. And, with that, you're thinking, hey, they must get a lot of story in. Well, they do and they don't. The movie puts, like, way too many different arcs into one movie. They keep linking things from all over the series and tries to loosely connect them together as one complete flowing story. Only it doesn't flow, because the stuff they choose to retell takes place in different parts of the series, to different parts of development. Some are from the beginning, and some are from like the very end of the series. And let me remind you, this is the first movie in possibly a trilogy. So the way they have this is very odd. Now, it sort of starts off the same, where it's about Ed and Al wanting to find the Philosopher's Stone so they can restore their bodies. You really don't get that story in here. I mean, you get it if you've seen the show, but they don't tell you that in here. Like, the entire plot of the show, they completely skip over. Like, the opening thing, with Ed and Al, you see them as kids. The mom, like, passes out on the spot. Like, you don't see her face, you don't know who she is, other than their mom, and she gets Disneyed and she's gone. And then they try to bring her back using alchemy, and then the house gets swept away like it's the Wizard of Oz. And then the next thing you know, it jumps forward 10 years later, and Ed's an adult now, finding Cornello. It completely skips over so many things, it's not funny. And the people they chose to be casted as the characters, none of them really look or act or sound anything like the characters from the show. The closest they got is Al, who they got the suit of armor done perfectly. One of the great things about the movie, they got the armor down, hands down. It looks exactly like Al. It looks exactly like him. And the man they have playing Mace Hughes is Ryuta Sato. He actually looks like him. He looks and acts like him. The only difference is he's not as crazy and quirky as he is in the show, but he's pretty much the closest one they've got to acting like the character. They even had a big-time singer, Dean Fujioka, play Roy Mustang, and for some reason he can't act in here. I don't know why. Maybe acting's not his forte. Maybe he should stick with singing. But in here, I don't know why Roy acts like a mannequin most of the time, and you can't tell what's his expression. He just stares off into space half the movie. But, yeah, there's just so much in here I could go into, but I don't want to bore you guys by going through everything. But the main things is that it's supposed to cover the first 4 volumes of the original story. They cover way more than that because they take stuff from the ending. They have 3 of the 7 homunculi, but here's the thing, they work differently. They have lust, envy, and gluttony. They do not have King Bradley. They do not have Father. You do not see Hohenheim. You don't see Major Armstrong. You don't see Izumi Curtis. You don't see the grandma. There's like a bunch of characters that you don't see Ling Yao. You don't see Mei Chang. You don't see like 80% of the characters they got in the show in the beginning. They are non-existent. They completely are absent from the story, and they never are brought up ever. I don't know how they make a series without that. And they even have Scar in here. Yeah, the guy that was hunting all the alchemists, he's completely gone. Never mentioned, never brought up. Perhaps they're going to bring him in the next movie. I don't know. They brought in Shao Tucker. Yes, they brought him in. And now he's the big bad villain. He's one of the main antagonists. For some reason. I mean, you didn't want to see this jackass for more than an episode. But now we have to see him for a majority of the film. I don't know why, but that's what they chose to do. And then, as this quote-unquote story goes on, a bunch of different things happen that don't make sense or don't line up with motivations or character or really anything. They got Winry in here, who's not blonde, and, well, she tags along with Ed and Al just like the whole movie, when she didn't really show up too much unless Ed needed the automail fix, but for some reason here she tagged along the entire film, and she did way more than Ed. And, oh yeah, before you ask, no, they don't really ship them in this movie. I don't know why. That was something they did in the 03 where the relationship was one-sided for romance. But in here, there's like nothing at all. They may say one line, and that's it. And they really don't act like the characters in the show, so they don't have any interest in each other whatsoever in this movie. They made it completely platonic. Yeah, so as the thing goes on, they keep in where Al thinks he's not human, and he and Ed have a fight. Ed tries to beat the hell out of him, and his hand is bloody, which is like nothing Ed would ever do, because the movie just constantly brings in character contradictions and stuff they would never do. Mustang has no personality. Riza does absolutely nothing. Ed does absolutely nothing. Envy does pretty much absolutely nothing. Gluttony does nothing. Lust does some things. Yeah, they basically just rewrote everybody and everything in this movie. And then General Hakura is the villain. They don't have any of the people you know from the franchise that were main antagonists to lead up to it. They just kind of pick and choose who they want to be their antagonists in here. So they got like 6 villains in here at the same time. And as it goes on, it just gets more and more uninteresting. It's almost like watching a train wreck. Everyone's out of character. The story is nonsensical. Nothing's in the right order. Nothing's interesting about this movie unless you just want to see the monstrosity it is. It is just absolutely incredible how they did this movie, and they stuck to nothing from the manga. And the director claims to be a fan of it, but when you watch it, you kind of wonder, what the heck was he reading? Or what the heck was he watching? So, yeah, as this movie goes on, I don't want to go on too long because, you know, the movie is long itself already. It's like over 2 hours. So if you really want to chance it and watch the movie to see how just it is, be my guest. I watched the movie twice. First time because I had no better, and the second time is I had to suffer through it. And yeah, it's really not a good adaptation at all. I definitely would recommend it to watch unless you just want to see a train wreck, or you want to see what they screwed up, or you want to laugh at everything they get wrong. If I'm being honest, I think Roy Mustang had way more character development and screen time in this movie than Ed himself. Because Ed also does not do much of alchemy in this movie. 90% of the movie, he's either like crying, or he's staring, or he's moping, or he's got like anger issues. Well, he's had anger issues before, but it's not nearly as funny as in the show. I don't know, Ed's more emotional in here. He's like cries a lot. Like, this isn't Deku, it's Edward. I don't know how they did that, but they did. But, yeah. The best I could say is they got the costumes right for the majority of the part. They got May Hughes down. They got Al down with his costume. And they even had 3 of the original voice actors from English voice them in English. They had Vic Manjota, they had Aaron Desbuke, and Caitlin Glass. So, that's actually a plus. But unfortunately, it doesn't save the movie. So, yeah. Oh, and don't forget, they also changed about who gets framed for the assassination of Hughes. You definitely gotta see that, because it's a real mess. It's a real wild goose chase. It's just a hot mess. So, yeah, if you've seen this movie, let me know. Did you actually like it, found some things right with it, or did you think it was an absolute total waste of time, like the last Airbender movie? You never want to watch it again. Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you guys next time. Later.